I don't think I accomplished anything significant before coming here. A lot of times I think of these refugees that cross the Mediterranean to go to Italy or something, and most they know that they're most likely going to die because of the conditions. They're aware of that, but even though they still go, because they would rather die than being that life that they had. And I think in many ways was what triggered that decision of mine to get a tourist visa and come. I had all these years that I would rather that meant nothing. I could tell you nothing. So the problem was I was constantly having to choose my words. Inside my stepfather was aggressive, and my mother and my father had problems with alcohol, and there's a lot of mistakes that were made. I remember one day I woke up, it was 6:30 in the morning, and I was rushing to go to school, and I needed to print something. And I was 12 years old at the time, and then I rushed to the printer, and I started printing my homework that I had finished the night before, but I needed to have that printed. And from when I put my hands in a piece of paper and I was rushing, I was stopped by my stepfather, and he asked, he always called me boy, which I always felt very sad about. And he asked what I was doing, and I said that I was quickly getting that piece of paper to go to school. And he said, "You're not going to take any of my paper." And then he pushed me down the stairs and smashed my homework and threw it away. And then on that day, I went to school with nothing. But that wasn't the problem. The problem was that I never understood why he had to behave that way. Today I see that in my studies in medicine, I understand you can have mental illnesses, and that may trigger behaviors that are not comprehensible. But back then it was very difficult for me as a child to understand these behaviors. I realized when I was 18 that having an education was actually the only way I could possibly live a life that would be too good to be true. So it was on that moment that I saw the need to appreciate every moment I had inside the classroom. So I started my undergraduate degree at Santa Fe College in spring of 2015. 2 months after, I was in a hospital being told that I had this aggressive cancer and that I would need 6 months of treatment. I had a problem because I needed at least 1 semester worth of grades. I needed grades at Santa Fe College in order to be eligible for scholarships so that I could continue to study. If I stopped for my medical condition, I would not get a scholarship. If I didn't get a scholarship, I would have to go back to my country with nothing. So that wasn't an option. And I had professors who helped me, but this was extremely challenging. There were moments where I'll just hit my head in the ground, crying, trying to find strength to do a freaking homework because I just couldn't. I got these injections in my spinal cord in the back, and made it very difficult for me to stand up or even bring my head here to look at a computer. So I had 4 months of chemotherapy treatment with procedures, and at the end of that I was able to return to school, and I was very, very committed to working really hard. I remember looking at this chemotherapy bag and thinking, oh, someone came up with this medication, so maybe I can come up with something better that doesn't make me feel so sick. So I came back to Santa Fe with that mentality. Obviously it was a little bit naive. I didn't realize at the time how difficult it is to come up with medication, but I was confident and committed to work as hard as I could in my classes as well as research. because it was so challenging for me to start at Santa Fe College and maintain scholarships, I was always very, very grateful for the opportunity that I was in a classroom. And because of that, I never accepted missing classes or getting anything below an A. And there are moments where I couldn't even see colors in the sky, but because I was studying so much, but I did what I had to do, and that was what happened for all 2 years. So after 2 years of my associates in arts degree at Santa Fe College, I was confronted by this challenge of how I could continue to be in school given that I had no income or no financial support for my family, really. And there's this very, very precious opportunity given by the Jack and Cook Foundation, where they give students with a lot of potential, with financial need, they give up to $40,000 a year, up to 3 years, to finish their education at a 4-year institution. So I applied to the Jack and Cook Foundation scholarship. I was rejected in the first year. Because of that, I had to take a gap year, had no other option. However, I applied again in the second year, and then I was awarded this scholarship, which allowed me to join UF. When I joined Santa Fe College, I was exposed to what I like to think of as this few 1 in a million professors and advisors that on their own were able to change my life and my mindset about things, especially when I was confused, when I was afraid, when I was making mistakes. They were there, and for that I think I'm forever grateful that I was at Santa Fe College